Some residents didn't heed the warning, the weather warning, and they felt the wrath. Clint Watson joins us live in studio. He's just back now from North Eleuthera and the mishap on the glass window bridge. Clint, I know you've been following this story all day. What can you tell us tonight?
Shanique, we've been reporting this since this morning on radio, and you know the particulars already. And for those who are just hearing it for the first time, here's what we can tell you. Because of those strong winds that we heard Basil talking about moments ago in the glass window bridge, you know that's already in the area where the seas is rough. On one side it's calm, the other side is the actual ocean. And so you can imagine when you have these kind of rip currents flowing, what kind of winds you can expect on that bridge. And that's why they normally would close this bridge down whenever you have these kind of warnings. And that's exactly what happens. You can see yourself in the video how ferocious those winds and those waves are. And imagine those coming up over the actual bridge itself. And that's what happened. As a matter of fact, when we were here shooting this earlier today, this is during a time of low tide. So imagine when it's high tide, what you can experience. And that's why they close the bridge down on both ends. So if you're trying to commute from north to south, you simply can't. And I often tell people it's a day they refer to as a holiday, because once this kind of thing happens and the bridge is closed, there's simply no commuting back and forth. Whether it's school, whether it's work, no one can pass on this particular bridge because of the danger of this. And what would have happened is on yesterday, you would have had a group of women who were out in a car, two women taking photographs on top of those rocks right there that you see. The winds would have been so high and so difficult, it would have pushed one of the women over, two of the women actually. Luckily, though, they fell onto the rocks rather than onto the ocean, and people were able to pull them out right before another wave came and swept them away. Of course, you know they were severely injured, especially one particular woman. She was severely injured. She was taken to the clinic in Eleuthera where she was treated and then airlifted late last night here to the capital. We're told her legs are broken and a lot of scratches, you can imagine, are falling upon those rocks. It's a concern that residents in Eleuthera we spoke to today all over concerned about, and what most of them have been calling for is for really the government to reconstruct another bridge that's closer to the calmer side of the waters rather than the rough side, as because of what you see happening here, the bridge being shut down. And so a lot of them are saying that they've been asking a number of governments in the past, subsequent governments, to please build this new bridge. No one has yet risen to the challenge, and you can imagine why. We were able to talk to the administrator for North Eleuthera, Mr. Preston Cunningham, who shared his views on the issue of what residents are calling for. Here's what he had to say.
I suppose it wouldn't hurt sometime later on putting one in place, but I think the efforts are being made with respect to that. The structure as we know it now has already been examined. And, you know, we have a lot of Arbely Islands, a lot of things to do, and everything couldn't be done in a day. That kind of project is a very, very expensive project, and so it will take a little time.
Do you agree, though, that the structure that exists now is deteriorating?
There is a little deterioration from what I have seen that could be rectified quickly.
When you have the bridge closed on days like this, does it hamper the economics of people who have to commute back and forth?
Yes and no.
And Shanique, to tell you exactly how it really challenges some of the workers, one particular lady who was actually in the airport working for Pineapple Air, this is how she gets home. She lives in Gregory Town, but of course she can't pass through the glass window bridge in order to get home. So what happens in the evening in order for her to get home? She simply jumps on the plane, takes a flight over to Governor's Harbor, and then drives home from there. So people have to actually fly from one end to the next if they want to get back and forth because the bridge, of course, is closed. And hopefully it'll be reopened once these strong seas and winds subside sometime tomorrow. Shanique, back to you.
Clint, is almost legend. Eleutherans certainly know the danger of the bridge when bad weather is approaching or perhaps is on the island. How is it that they didn't heed the warnings of meteorologists to stay clear of the water, certainly of that area?
That's a question we've been asking all day. And a lot of people have said to us, oh, we didn't hear the warnings, oh, we didn't recognize it was that difficult. I think the challenge here is the bridge at one point was open. If you can imagine this morning when we were doing interviews with police, that's when the bridge was about to be closed. So yesterday, the bridge would have still been open when this would have happened. So there obviously would have been communication challenges there as to what time the bridge closed, because it would have still been open to some people is what we're being told. And so again, there has to be some coordination coordination between these warnings being issued by Met officials and some official on the island actually closing the bridge. And then again, people just heeding the warnings, because even while we were up there taping this afternoon, there were still some people who actually removed the actual gate that was closed. It's a chain link fence, and people are actually moving the chain and still going under and going through, even in that danger zone. So there's still some people who just won't heed because they feel they have to get where they're going. Hopefully people recognize how serious it is, and after this incident, they'll recognize the importance of really adhering to the precautions.
We can only hope, Glenn. Of course, thank you very much. Good to have you back.